And away we go. It is the Nightcap Tuesday edition. Right here on BearcatJournal.com, brought to you by our good friends at Galactic Fried Chicken, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the website, get the app. Get the app, get delivery right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or get down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up, save 15% off of those delicious chicken tenders, French fries, fried chicken, coleslaw, fried pickles, Galactic sauce, all that and more. At our good friends, Galactic Fried Chicken. It is out of this world. All right, Aaron. What's up, brother?
Another day, still no fridge.
Still no fridge?
I think they forgot about us when I called today and they said, "Oh, just found your order after this brief hold. It appears it's going to be delivered tomorrow. You'll receive a notification this evening." Didn't receive that notification. Probably not getting a fridge tomorrow. I hate them.
It's a strong word, Aaron. At least you've got a beer fridge you can't use.
Yeah.
You know, we work all the time, but it's fine. It's fine. Talking about talking. We'll go ahead for now. And also, just to let everybody know, we are going to start adding in Big 12 basketball into typically probably the end of these shows. I don't think we need to do individual shows for basketball like we do for football. But a couple minutes at the end of a nightcap, maybe just to go over what happened the night before, what's happening that night, if there are big games, things of that nature. There is one tonight. I'm excited to pop that one on here in a little bit. But I think that's a good spot for it, and it'll give us a chance to kind of have a place where we keep an eye on all that stuff without giving it its own specific destination. But maybe in conference play, we will do one on the weekend and one during the week or whatever. But we'll see how it goes. Anywho, talking about Aaron, go.
So Satterfield talked about how he's going to continue playing young guys, but he's also ultimately trying to win games. So he's going to put the guys in that he feels gives him the best chance to do that as their main goal right now. And this was reiterated several different times, is trying to send off the seniors on a positive note. Talked about how they need to win the turnover margin despite what the defense is ranked at. I believe 6th right now overall, or something along that line, 5th. I don't know. But defense is ranked very high. But
in the Big 12, yeah, in yards or whatever,
yeah. 4 picks all year will do that to your defense.
Look, man, it's not only been the lack of like getting interceptions, but it's also been at least 4 or 5 times the ball's been right in the hands of a defender and been dropped.
Sure.
Right in the stomach of a defender and been dropped. So it's a multitude of not getting pass rush, not being in a ton of positions to create turnovers. And when you are, you drop it. But that was one of the other things he talked about when I asked him about 13 offensive snaps with the lead. And he said that also, like, he's right. It also impacts the defense. If we're not playing from ahead, you can't send as much pressure. You can't be as aggressive. Like, you would know this. If you're a Bengals fan, go watch what that Bengals defense looks like when they're playing from behind. And then when they're playing from ahead and they just get to tell Hendrickson, go eat the quarterback.
And he does.
It's a lot easier to play from in front. Shocking,
as you bring up that they've been playing behind all year, they have not started a drive on the other side of the 50-yard line all season long. And he said he thinks that they might be the only team that has not that has not done that.
No, I think he did say Big 12 last 7 games. Early in the first couple games, they had good field position, and then like everything else,
yeah. He said that everyone did show up on Sunday, as he had alluded to. We'll see who shows up and all of that. It seems that the team meeting was awfully heated. That was a
Good.
word he used, heated. Sounding like both players and coaches were ultimately what I gathered reading between tea leaves was just holding each other accountable, both players and coaches alike. Said that success at the end of the season would look like growth if he sees growth from the team. So it didn't even say necessarily wins. Obviously, trying to finish the season at 5-7 would be the goal, I would assume. But at this point, he's not even labeling wins. He is just simply saying growth would look like success at the end of the season. Also said that he wanted to send the seniors out the right way, with positive memories, as opposed to L, 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 L. And then mentioned that half of the recruits will be early enrollees. That's definitely a good thing, as you're looking to get this thing back on track as soon as humanly possible. Those were my takeaways for Satterfield. Corey Kiner then, he said that he credits the strength and training staff for why he is staying healthy. Talked about how Nico has him squatting more than he ever has in his life. Didn't even know that it was possible for himself to be squatting as much as he is up to now. Also talked about how in that team meeting, as we have already mentioned, coach was calling people and himself out. Basically, Corey does not believe that they are playing up to the Cincinnati standard that he has come to know, and said that leaders like himself need to be holding other people accountable, calling people out. Also mentioned that Ryan Montgomery, as a leader, is constantly leading by example, just how good it is to be around him and see how he is as a leader. And it sounds like Corey has a ton of respect for the way that Ryan Montgomery simply carries himself.
Yeah, that's why I asked that question. Like, Ryan Montgomery is the consummate teammate, like the ultimate professional. Has had a million chances to quit or go away or give up. Has continued to fight and fight and fight and fight. Like, his name, because of injuries and everything else, and he never got the chance to like fully show it. But he would have, because of who he is, would have been a fan, like longtime fan favorite that they talk about for years if he could have stayed a little more healthy. Because guess what? Every time he's gotten a chance, he's been outstanding in everything. In everything. Yep. Kudos to Ryan Montgomery. Ryan Montgomery fan podcast.
And they also said that Corey also said that the running game can build off of what they've done this season. So it sounds like not just necessarily even the running backs room, because D'Artagnan Tinsley also talked about just how much the offensive line, especially when you're returning your entire offensive line next year,
potentially you can,
whether they start or not is or portal or whatever the case may be. But that's one thing that huge positive. And you can build off of that this off season. D'Artagnan Tinsley was the other guy on the podium today. He said that the meeting that they had on Sunday was needed. He said essentially they challenged the team and the team challenged the coaches, and said that the team is better for what they went through on Sunday. To be a fly on the wall, I'm telling you.
I would love to have known what happened Sunday at that meeting.
Certainly. He said that the offensive line is certainly not happy with how many sacks that they've given up this season. As we have talked about here on this podcast, they're not all on the offensive line. Just because there is a sack recorded does not necessarily mean it's on the offensive line. Sometimes that is on a running quarterback, whether the statistician mistakes a run for a pass, or whether that's just Emery just making a read and maybe shouldn't be running. So I'm not going to necessarily put all 5 of those on them, even though the stats show it.
Well, actually, I think it was even less than that. I think it was probably only 3, because another one was like where he escaped, and
Yeah.
it wasn't a sack. It was a tackle for loss. But what?
Spoke glowingly about what Luke Kandra has been able to do coming to this team, and just how much he has been a light for shining on how to operate in Satterfield's offense. And Dan Horde got him talking about how the whole line can return and potentially be special next year.
I like D'Artagnan Tinsley a lot, man.
Yeah.
Like that's a dude. Remember, that's a guy that was at Kentucky Christian or whatever, like D3 or like all the way at the bottom of the food chain.
Yeah.
And believed in himself, transferred here. Now he's a starter. He's playing really well. Like, can you remember a time this season where you thought Tinsley screwed that one up?
Nope. Not once.
I mean, has he been perfect? No. Like there have been breakdowns. That happens to everybody, but
sure.
He has been rock solid. And I've heard some conversation with him. I think I've mentioned this before. Like, not this year, but if he has another year of growth like he just had coming into this season, that they think there's a chance he could be an NFL type guard.
Time will tell.
Long arms, powerful, good in the run game. Like
mature. He seemed mature at the podium.
Yeah, very sharp dude. So he's going to do good in like interview settings, things of that nature.
Yeah.
I've been really impressed with him.
All right. So opening tip-off was last night for NCAA basketball, and the Big 12 was no exception, as I think everybody played outside of Baylor.
Baylor plays tonight. Baylor has a big one tonight that we'll get to in a minute. I'll run through these real quick. Kansas big over North Carolina Central, 99-56. Houston destroyed Louisiana Monroe, 81-34. Yikes.
84-31.
Or 84-31, sorry. The leading scorer for Louisiana Monroe, 5 points.
Good Lord.
Wow. Texas big over Incarnate Word. The only other, I believe, ranked game in the conference last night, USC takes down Kansas State. Isaiah Collier was outstanding. Boogie Ellis was really good. USC has one of the toughest backcourts in the country, man. They're going to be good most of the year just on that alone. West Virginia down early or down in the second half, I think. No, down at halftime. Missouri State, but they pull away in the second half, 7:59. Oklahoma big over Central Michigan. UCF over Florida International. Iowa State embarrassed Green Bay. The only real surprise of the night, Oklahoma State at home falls to Abilene Christian 64-59. That was from what I can gather, Oklahoma State had a decent amount of talent last year, couldn't get over the so they're going young. Youth movement loses in game one.
They were favored 10.5, so
yeah. Those are winnable, man. No, those are in college basketball early. If you see a mid-major that's within 10, 15 points, it is absolutely a game the other team can lose as we learn about these teams early in the season. Or as these teams now, this is what we also have to adjust to, Aaron. Different world. There are no more veteran teams. Every team is working 2-3 transfers into their starting rotation.
Sure.
And 2-3 freshmen or transfers into their main bench rotation. Like, I think this is going to be even more prevalent now than it used to be because teams just don't grow old together anymore.
Well, Cincinnati, even last night, that game got within 5 in the second half. So
early second half, yeah. And then they pushed it back out to 15, 16. But yeah, if things go a little wonky when you're only up 5, you're in a position where you could lose.
Yeah.
Not to make excuses for Oklahoma State there, but I think it's going to be something we're going to talk about a lot as at least we go through November. BYU big on Houston Christian, TCU over Southern, and then the UC game. And then tonight, Getting ready to tip off on ESPN, Auburn and Baylor.
Auburn favored 1.5.
Yeah, Baylor's ranked. Auburn isn't. And this is in Vegas. Or no, it's in Sioux Falls. It's in the Pentagon.
USC was in Vegas.
Yeah, USC was in Vegas. This is in the Pentagon.
ESPN's FPI, though, does give Baylor a 56.4% chance. So nothing makes sense.
No. Look, even the reason, like the Vegas numbers tend to almost mirror Ken Palm usually. And Ken Palm is not a predictive measure. It still has weights and balances from a season ago. So I'm not a gambler. If you were any good at gambling, the beginning of college basketball is where you can make a lot of money because the lines just are very rarely true for a couple weeks. Maybe longer, but at least a couple weeks.
There you go.
But it can be dangerous because you can think you got one and then, a 3 turns a 16-point win into a 19-point win and you had 18.5. Those are never fun. That's the nightcap. We'll be back tomorrow night to take a look at the Big 12 in Week 11. Week 11, my God. That's the nightcap brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.